my teacher and student friends. I have been asked to talk about ocean, for which maybe you have to sit for hundreds of days. Not 1 or 2 hours, but hundreds of days. I will try my best to make it as simple by using very bad and simple English so that the children can understand. Now it is noon. If I say that now it is noon, everybody understands. They will look up and say, yes, it is noon. Instead, if I say that it is midnight, all of you start laughing, because you understand what is noon and what is midnight, because you have been experiencing it. Now suppose if you want to learn about sea or ocean, you have got to experience. You have to go there, see what is there, how it is, and then try to analyze. There are our leaders, bureaucrats and politicians. For them, whatever is there on this earth, like this vacant space, vacant agriculture land, river flowing, they are all waste, because immediately they do not get any benefit out of that. Likewise, a fellow was lost in the sea. He was going on a ship and the ship broke, and he somehow managed to catch a broken wooden piece and live on that. He badly wanted water. He says, water, water everywhere, but not a drop to drink. For the thirsty man, for survival, what is important is a drop of drinking water. But we have an ocean full of water which we cannot drink, but millions or billions of organisms live there, using that water, drinking that water, living in that water. If we think only about human beings, probably it is waste. But if you think about the entire world, the earth, that is not a waste. That is the source of our life. If you take a handful of sea water and see under microscope, just a handful of sea water, and see under microscope, you will see at least 10 lakh microalgae. 10 lakh in just a handful of inshore sea water. That is the water near the shore. You take all the plants on this earth, including your agriculture, garden, forest, the oxygen produced by all these plants is less than half the oxygen produced on this earth. Today, if we are living and getting comfortable quantity of oxygen, it is because ocean is alive. Ocean is alive with large quantity of organisms, plants, which cannot be seen through naked eye. Then you can imagine how important the ocean is for us. I will tell it in another way. One person in one day uses oxygen of nearly 3 cylinders. Just as we have gas cylinder, you get oxygen cylinders also. We use 3 cylinders of oxygen per day for respiration, for our survival. And a single cylinder costs 750 rupees. That means in a day we are spending 2000 rupees, or rather if the oxygen is marketed by Mother Earth, we may have to pay 2000 rupees for survival. And average life of one man is 65 years now. Now it is increased to 67. You just calculate, it is millions of rupees. So much is the amount that this nature provides us, and the major share comes from the ocean. Now if the ocean is not there, this earth cannot survive. If there are no living organisms in the ocean, earth will be barren. You can imagine how important it is. There is a saying, time and tide waits for no man, because the bell is ringing. They don't care. Now it is 12 o'clock, a bell has to be switched on, because they have to intimate you that this is the time for you. Now see, the relations between time and tide, whether you want it or not, the time moves on. Whether you sleep, sit, work, sometimes if you are waiting for something, time doesn't move. You feel as if the time is not moving. You are hungry, the meals are not yet ready because it is not yet 1:30. Then you will be looking at your watch more often. But if you are busy seeing a wonderful film or a serial, then the time runs so fast you will not know. But very interestingly, this time is not managed by us. I cannot stop sun. I cannot say that, see, I am very busy, you please hold on for a minute. Sun will not listen to us. Likewise, our sea is also moving because of external forces, the moon and sun. Therefore, the tides will be continuously moving, the water will be moving. Probably you must have all done some models to show that energy can be produced by tide. But producing energy from tide is a difficult task. I don't know whether you have made it properly or not. Probably if I were one of the judges, I would have asked you as to how exactly the propeller works in the tidal force. Because for 6 hours, tide will be moving in one direction, and for another 6 hours, tide will be moving in the opposite direction. It is reversible. In a single day of about 24 hours, it is not exactly 24 hours, it will be little more, sometimes it will be little less also. So that depends on the lunar cycle. We have what is called as solar cycle and lunar cycle, moon. For our survival, moon is more important compared to sun when it is ocean movement. See, we have two calendars, we make two calendars. For days we use solar calendar, but for life cycles, we use lunar calendar. Probably you may not be aware of this. See, this lunar calendar plays a very important role in our life. That is why some people, if they are mentally weak, become more weak when it is the lunar period, full moon or new moon. That's mainly because of the tidal influence. We were born in the sea. We were born in the sea. That is why we have the influence of sea. Whether you stay here or Himalaya, the lunar impact will be there on our body. The mechanism is very simple. When the moon lifts the earth or pulls it down, in that region, the atmospheric pressure variation will be there. Though it appears to be marginal, its impact will be there on our body. It is as simple as that. If it is a physics version, it is as simple as that. Now, this tidal movement of water has been the cause of origin of life. Life originated in the sea because of the churning of water. The water gets churned. We call it as upwelling. In English, in our scientific terms, we call it as upwelling. That means the bottom sediments come to the surface. The solar light uses this matter and produces food through microbes or the algae. And it is this process which has been the root cause for very high productivity in the ocean. APJ Abdul Kalam came to Bangalore when we had an interaction with the children. As you all know, he was once the first person of our country, president. One of the children asked one simple question, "Sir, we could go to moon, we could go to Mars, whereas we have not gone deep down into the sea. Why?" He said, going up is easy, but going down means we have to carry a huge pressure. The pressure down below in the bottom of the sea is so high, if we go down, all our body bones will be broken into pieces and it will be a powder. Such a heavy pressure is there in the bottom of the sea. Because of this pressure, the organisms living in that particular region are highly complicated, very fragile, very peculiar shape they have in the sea. To understand all this, when people like Abdul Kalam thought about this, all over the world also, marine biologists thought Why not explore the bottom of the ocean? Just as we count the human beings, census we call it as. Cattle we count, tigers we count, dogs we count. Why not count what is there down below in the sea? The thought came to a student sitting in a laboratory. See, when all are doing all census, let us see what is there in the sea. Everybody said, why not? Because the mystery lies beneath. We imagine now, those who see so many films, science fictions, you see peculiar people. They say that they are all from other planets. Aliens we call them as. But in fact, they are not aliens. These are all designed by looking at peculiar animals living in the sea. We say, if something is lost, where to search for the lost organism? We have the sea, the mysterious part of the earth, where so many things are there. You imagine a thing, it is there. To give you one example, up to 1956, we were searching for one small animal. That is because it was not there. We wanted to connect two groups of animals. We were not having a link. Our scientists thought over that, what to do. Okay, we'll take some characters of this, some characters of this, and join them and prepare one animal. They designed one animal and we called that as hypothetical ancestor, an imaginary ancestor. But in 1956, through an expedition, they found that animal live. We called it as Neopilina galatea because it was there near the Galapagos Islands. So what I want to tell you is that we have large number of mysteries, large number of opportunity to search for them. So that children, students from a research lab thought that why not do the census of the ocean. It was in 1997. Immediately they made a draft. Yes, we will do it. They planned a program for 10 years to look for the things that are there. And they spent 2,900 days in the ocean searching for new things. 280 scientists from all over the world went into the sea, searched for 2,900 days and found large number of new species. They estimate that there are 10 million species. Some say there can be 20 million also. Because what they have searched in those days was just only 10% of the ocean. Only 10% of the ocean had so much. You must have heard about corals. Some of the corals are used as ornaments by girls, ladies. These corals form a reef. Australia has a wonderful, largest barrier reef. Very huge reef we have. The coral reef some animals. We call the coral reefs as rainforest of the sea. Coral reefs are called as rainforests of the sea. Means, why rainforests are famous? Because they hold very rich biodiversity. So likewise, coral reef also holds very rich biodiversity. During this expedition, they went into one coral reef and they found 123 animals, and all of them were new to science. All the 123 they collected were new to science. We have about 1800 kilometer long barrier reef only. We in Karnataka also found out a very small island which has the corals, and we are asking our government to protect that, because we have an act to protect the corals. If we protect the corals, along with corals, we will be protecting the entire biodiversity in that region. Probably you must all be aware that the year 2013 is being observed as International Year for Water Cooperation. Have you heard? This year is being observed as International Year for Water Cooperation. We all know that we fight for water, and probably today in Karnataka we are observing this day as a black day, because our water is being fought. For our water, other people are fighting. Now, the issue here is not fight. The issue here is to see as to how this water can be better managed. How best we can utilize. More important than this is to see as to how we can share the nature's gift, that is rainwater. From where the rainwater comes? It is from ocean. If we protect our ocean, the forest around that, and hold the water, whatever is given as a gift from the ocean. Come on, ocean every year gives gift. Come on, you take some water. Why does the ocean give water to the earth? It is also selfish. Ocean is selfish. Why it is selfish? If the ocean, if the rain falls on the earth, the water flowing through the forest and the open earth carries the food, nutrients into the sea. If the land is not there, ocean cannot survive. Ocean here we refer to is the living organisms in the ocean. Year 2009 was observed as International Year for Protection of Ocean. The slogan was "Wanted seas and oceans, dead or alive." Do you want to kill the ocean? What exactly we mean by killing the ocean? Can we kill the ocean? Answer is yes. We are polluting the ocean. We are polluting the ocean means we are killing all the microbes in the ocean. We are killing the entire algal population of the ocean. We are destroying the oxygen factory that is there in the ocean. If that dies, the entire earth will be lifeless. You can imagine In 1996, we observed World Environment Day and signed a memorandum. It was called My Ocean Charter. My Ocean Charter. What does it mean? I am here and I am alive because the ocean is helping us to live. If it is my responsibility to see that my ocean is not protected, I take an oath today that I will try my best to educate my surrounding people about the importance of ocean, importance of protecting the ocean, preventing the pollution around the ocean, and all these are written and signed. In fact, I only made many of my students, or thousands of our students, to sign this ocean charter, to give an education about the ocean. Probably you may not be aware, as early as in 1991, we had one act, Coastal Regulation Zone Notification, CRZ notification we call it. It has a history. In 1976, I think it's not 1976, it is 1972, Srimati Indira Gandhi, I think our young children, whether they know Srimati Indira Gandhi or not, whether they have heard about Indira Gandhi or not. So she visited the coastal belt and wrote, this coastal belt is very precious for our country. The coastal region requires protection. All the coastal states or the chief ministers of the coastal states must see to it that the coastal zone is properly managed. That was the foundation. Today we have rules, we have acts to protect the ocean. How can we protect the ocean? Now suppose if you people eat so many things here, litter the campus, and some of them are plastic. This plastic will flow along with the water. Wherever it is thrown, even in Himalayas if it is thrown, one or the other day it will reach the Bay of Bengal or Arabian Sea. If it goes there, then it will make a plastic bed. Now, our threat is that of the total plastic produced, 29% of the plastic is there in the bottom of the sea. 29% of the total plastic is in the bottom of the sea, and another 23% is floating. This 23% floating plastic has gone and accumulated in some places. One captain of a ship has written a book now. In 2010 he wrote a book. The name of the book is Plastic Ocean. The name of the book is Plastic Ocean. He was traveling in the boat and he encountered one place where it is plastic. How much plastic is there? The floating plastic, or the area where it is floating, is equivalent to United Kingdom, size of United Kingdom, one country. Can you imagine? All the plastic that we have thrown has gone into one place near the equator, and there it has formed a island. Now they want to make one very interesting project for that. They want to collect all the plastic, melt it, and prepare a floating village out of the plastic. You can imagine how dangerous it is. If the plastic sheet is spread, you all know that below that not even a grass can grow. Water cannot grow, go down or sink. Now in the sea, if it is spread, food is below, animals are above. The food will not come to the surface, the animals cannot go down to the bottom. It means that the living beings will starve. You must have heard, if you read paper, the fishermen are crying every day, saying that there is fish famine. About 30 years back, people like us, one of the scientists has said, there is so much fish in the sea, even if we remove non-stop for 100 years, you cannot empty them. Our calculation was wrong. Within 30 years, our stock of fishes has gone down. Now, there is a threat. There is a fish famine. Tomorrow what will we eat? Because fish is the largest quantity of protein being supplied from the sea to the people. You can imagine how much it has been affected. Now, if we see the sea, it appears plain. You feel, oh, it is so plain and so nice. But you walk down in the sea, you have huge hills. Hills larger than or taller than Himalayas, and trenches, valleys. We see Jog Falls and say that okay, it is a beautiful falls, or say that Niagara is a falls. We have bigger falls inside the ocean. You may wonder, how can there be falls inside the ocean? That is the mystery. We have huge rivers in the sea. Huge rivers moving from the cold Antarctica towards the equator, carrying all cold water. On its way, it will be climbing the hills, falling down, again climbing the hills, falling down, and there will be a differential picture. And if you see that all our falls, none of the falls, waterfalls that we see are taller than many of the falls that we see beneath the sea. There are what are called as cold water currents, warm water currents. From equator continuously, warm water will be moving to the colder part. In huge rivers. How big are the rivers? Several thousand kilometers long, several hundred kilometers wide. Can you imagine? And it is these currents that separate fishes of America from fishes of India, or fishes of India from fishes of Australia. They are all different. That is why we have the division of the ocean into seas into oceans. We have 4 oceans: Atlantic Ocean, Indian Ocean, Pacific Ocean, and Arctic Ocean we call them as. So these oceans are made up of so many seas. One of our friends was asking me, how do you define as this is the Atlantic Ocean, this is Pacific Ocean? We use the continental marks for that. But if you see the world map, we see that there are lines around. These lines indicate that there are the currents, cold water currents, warm water currents, And these are very important for separation of animals, separation of fishes. Therefore, any animal that we see in Atlantic may not be seen in Pacific, or anything that is seen in Pacific may not be seen in Indian Ocean. Like that we have the segregation. Now, something else is there. They are called as volcanoes underwater. What would have happened if these volcanoes were not there? Even on land we have the volcanoes. Very mysterious thing. If probably volcanoes were not there on this earth would not have had the life that we have. They are so important. Then even then we hate those volcanoes because they produce the required elements. They release the elements from the core. And such large number of volcanoes, active volcanoes, are there under sea. And it is these volcanoes that are there under the sea that provide the demand of us. That is why the ocean is one place where all the elements are available. Ocean is one place where all the minerals required are available. That is the reason why life first originated in the ocean. Because all the available components were there. Otherwise, there would not have been life on this planet. This planet is the only planet where we have large quantity of water. That too, water in liquid form. If we take the total water that we have, 71% of the earth is covered by ocean only. And the total quantity of water available, if we call it as 100%, 99% of the water is seawater. 99% is seawater. Out of the remaining, partly it is ice, partly it is in the form of moisture, and only 1% is drinkable water available in your rivers, dams, etc. Rest is not used. Even then, this 1% water is more than sufficient for the entire humanity if used properly. But unfortunately, we people, the human beings, have destroyed these water sources in the name of development, covered or filled the lakes, damaged the water resources by polluting them, and thus we are suffering. Therefore, we are going for groundwater. The groundwater is sinking. This is another problem. Now, coming to the sea only, you all heard that there was a tsunami. Tsunami has destroyed the coastal belt. People from Tamil Nadu and Pondicherry know it very well, how it happened. The tsunami was caused because of a huge earthquake in the ocean. It was 1,200 kilometer long split. Huge split. Where it occurred? We have what are called as tectonic plates. Just as if you shave your head, you will see some lines. We call them as sutures, the stitches. The brain to expand, or when the brain expands inside, there should not be any impact. Sutures are there. Exactly like that, Earth is the only planet where there are sutures, or the tectonic plates. 7 of them are there. These plates will be moving about. We have what is called as continental drift. The continents are moving slowly from one place to another. There was a time when India was almost attached to Australia.
Africa.
How do you say that? Because in India we have fossils of kangaroo, whereas kangaroo lives there. Kangaroo is the place for kangaroo, Australia is the home. Now slowly we are drifting towards South Africa, African continent. Probably a day will come when India and Dubai will be, there will be a small bridge between them. Then we will not be living, because it is a very slow process. About 4 centimeters in a year it is movement. So this drift is the cause of origin of Himalaya. Where was Himalaya earlier? Himalaya was under sea. And the South Indian region, our India, is the new world. South India is the new world. And the old world, or we call it as Gondwana land, is China and beyond, where Peking man was evolved. When man evolved, this land was not there. So we people are lucky that we have a new home, whereas Chinese people are living in the very old house. So that is how the continental drift is changing the situations. And that is why we are better protected. Our region, South Indian region, is less quake prone. We are nicely balanced on a tectonic plate. So this is about the mysterious things that we have. We have a responsibility now. The responsibility is to learn about the ocean, how best we can protect the ocean, how best we utilize the ocean and have a happy life on this planet. That is possible only if we learn and see as to what can be done. As I have already told, our life depends on the ocean. When I say ocean, we have regions in the ocean. We have the inshore waters, very important part of the ocean, because it is the storehouse of fishes. Fishes are there because there is lot of food, and this food is there because the rivers help them. Rivers carry the food and give them supply. Now, if the ocean has to survive happily, we have to see that our rivers flow normally. Never put a dam on the river. If you are putting the dam, if you are constructing a dam on a river, it means that you are partially killing the sea. Nobody understands this, even if we tell. Second thing is, we use lot of insecticides. These insecticides used here will be washed out. We call it as residue. There are many which do not get destroyed immediately. They have a longer shelf life. They all are carried to the river and from river to the ocean. In the ocean we have the fishes. If they survive, we eat them. Again we are bringing back this dangerous material into our body. Reduce using insecticides. I am telling it because our children prepare projects related to that. And when you relate to them, you will only tell about your neighboring river or neighboring well or neighboring paddy field. Along with you, we are also affected, though we don't use. Because of somebody's mistake, some other people will be get affected. If we eat fish, probably we may eat some mercury. So that can be harmful. All the industries, whatever kind of industry, they will be on the sea or river banks, throwing all their waste. This waste, if left untreated, it destroys all the microorganisms. Now, if they are killed, the ecosystem doesn't work. Microbes play a very important role in ecosystem. You all know that there are at least 2 types of microbes which are part of a typical ecosystem. Industries, then the effluents from the urban places, that is sewage, our insecticides, our plastic, they are killing the ocean also. So that's why they said, protect the ocean, otherwise the ocean will die. If the ocean dies, the humanity cannot survive. Maybe Earth will be like another barren planet. No doubt in physics, while talking about possibilities, probabilities, we say every star must be having at least one planet with life. But we don't believe without proof. Show one life from another planet, then say that okay, we can go to that planet. Now already moon is booked. There is no place left in the moon. Now it will be the turn of Mars. So we have to think of a planet where there is life, there we can go. But as I have already said, we don't believe that there is life because there is no sea in any of the planets detected so far. No water in liquid form. They are all, water if at all is there, it's in the form of moisture. So considering all these facts, ocean has a role. Ocean is very important. I was referring to ocean census. You know, there is deep down in the water, there is no day and no night. The darkness is 100%. Temperature is below -4 degrees or less than 0. Very heavy load on the body. There also large number of organisms are living. They have found out a highway of bacteria, a mysterious highway of bacteria about 200 kilometers wide and several thousand meters long in that darkest part of the ocean. How do they live? They live just by taking sulfur. The life can survive on sulfur also. There are a large number of mysteries unsolved. If we learn all these mysteries, a day will come when there is no space on this earth. We will go down into the deepest part of ocean, make a colony, live happily. Instead of doing agriculture, we will drink all that sulfur water and say a nice food we had. It is possible because science is progressing in that pace. Why go to alien planets when we have so much space on this earth only? Let us all join hands, explore and see what is there. Then at least make our young children get a better benefit out of it. Otherwise, it will be a story and the story will remain a story and life will be miserable. Dear friends, we had a nice time. I think it is time for lunch. If you have questions, you are welcome. Otherwise, is it thank you? Do you want to ask questions? There are just two possibilities. If you are not asking questions means you are not understood. Or the second possibility is you have understood everything and you don't want to know more. There is so much to tell unless you say, a child must cry. Then only mother feels that the child is hungry. Now you people are with a blank face. It means you are not hungry for knowledge. That's why there are no questions. Yes.
Coral reefs. ಹವಳದ ದಿನ್ಯಗಳು ಹೇಗೆ ತಯಾರಾಗ್ತವೆ?
Corals. How coral reefs are formed? ಕನ್ನಡದಲ್ಲಿ ಹೇಳಬೇಕಾ ಅಥವಾ ಇಂಗ್ಲಿಷ್ನಲ್ಲಿ? ಇಂಗ್ಲಿಷ್. But see, coral is a simple calcium carbonate. It's a simple calcium carbonate. Now these organisms filter, they are just like our sea anemone. You must have seen Hydra. They are the cousin brothers of Hydra. These corals are cousin brothers of Hydra or brothers of sea anemone. Sea anemone and coral belong to the same class Anthozoa of Coelenterata. Okay. Now these animals extract calcium from the seawater and prepare a skeleton. And they have two stages, polyp stage and medusa stage. The coral that we see is polypoid stage. It is a branching form. Now, when the animal dies, the next larva or the next young one smells the place and sits over them. So these corals, they have a speciality. They cannot survive without some of its associates. Just as we have a cow, we have a dog, we have a cat. Like that, corals want algae. These are microbes because they are providing the food for. Now these algae grow only where light penetrates. Okay, where the light penetrates. So what the new young coral will do is sit over the old dead coral. Like that for thousands of years they are sitting one above the other and branching and making a coral reef. That is because of their affinity. Just as we want, our great grandparents were there in our village, then again we also built a house there only on the same foundation. Then my son may just destroy that and build a new foundation. We are bad people because we destroy the old one and then build, whereas they are good animals because they don't destroy, they sit over that and then grow. That is why the reefs will be growing very fast. Only where there is sunlight. If the water is turbid, then the corals die. Cleanliness is a must for corals. More the sunlight penetrates, there will be large quantity of corals are being destroyed. Therefore, in Biodiversity Act, if anybody destroys a coral, he can be punished. He can be put behind the bars because corals are treated as a very important community, just as forest for us, reserve forest. As long as corals live, the life will survive. Okay, you got the answer? See, there is a beautiful question. How the species species suffer the pressure of water in the ocean? Answer is very simple. You jump from here on a stone. Jump from here on sand. What will happen? Higher the altitude, and if you jump on stone, you will break your leg or a hand or some part. Whereas, however much is the altitude, on sand, your leg or body parts are not damaged. How? Because the sand, after receiving the shock, distributes the shock to the sand grains. Exactly like that, the fishes or the species living down below in the deeper parts do not have a compact skull like us. Instead, the skull is made in such a way that there will be smaller molecules which take the shock. Now, if I lift a fish here, it will be intact. If I lift an animal in the deep sea, however big the animal, it will be broken into pieces because it is highly fragile. That is to distribute the pressure and sustain it. Okay?
Excuse me, sir. In our all facilities are there like environment, but then also why dinosaurs are destroyed?
See, that is the funniest part. What we say about dinosaurs. Dinosaurs were destroyed only on land because they are reptiles. Dinosaurs were reptiles. Okay? We have the reptiles still living, which were born much before dinosaurs, that is turtles. We are protecting turtles because turtles are superior to dinosaurs. If turtles had come to land, they would have become dinosaurs. Then they would have died. They did not die. They are still there. That is why we call turtle as Vishnu's avatar. Vishnu's avatar is immortal. We want to protect them. We have 7 species of turtles. All the turtles are protected mainly because they are more precious than dinosaurs. Dinosaurs were born later, but they played mischief. They died because they could not tolerate the changing environmental conditions. Whereas inside the sea, environment did not change, they continued to survive. Another next one is crocodile. It's still living. It is also ancient like our dinosaurs. Okay?
Thank you, sir.
Which is first on this earth, egg or hen?
See, this is a very good question. But scientifically, if I have to say, egg is first, then it is hen. Why? See, any changeover from one form to another is because of mutation. The evolution of life from one form to another is because of a sudden change in a gene. Okay, that has happened in the mother's body through that gene that is transferred. Okay, so that is why in all technicality, if you are a biology student, you must say that egg is first, not the hen. One egg changed and formed into a new form. Okay?
Sir, ಭೂಮಿ ಮೇಲೆ ಜೀವಿಗಳು ಹೇಗೆ ಬಂತು?
ಅದನ್ನೇ ಹೇಳ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದದ್ದು ನಾನು ಇಷ್ಟೊತ್ತವರೆಗೆ. ಕನ್ನಡದಲ್ಲೇ ಉತ್ತರ ಕೊಡ್ತೇನೆ. ನಾವು